We can have different opinions about the Obama administration. But what is undeniable is that Barack Obama was and is an outstanding speaker. But there is one thing that is special and very central to him: storytelling. Storytelling is not just telling any story. Storytelling is much, much more. Storytelling is the high art of speaking. It is Champions League or the Super Bowl of presentations. If you want to become really good at speaking, then you have to learn to tell stories. This is his first big speech at the 2004 Democratic Convention in Boston. The goal of his speech actually was to support the presidential candidate John Kerry. By the way, before we watch this, if I may give you some career advice, no matter where you give a presentation and no matter in front of which audience, always give your very best. That's what Obama did here. After that speech, many people saw in him not only a good speaker, but the future president. And how does Obama begin? With a story. He starts with his story. Let's take a look.
Tonight is a particular honor for me because, let's face it, my presence on this stage is pretty unlikely. My father was a foreign student. Through hard work and perseverance, my father got a scholarship to study in a magical place, America, that shone as a beacon of freedom and opportunity to so many who had come before.
In the thousands of speeches Obama has made, there is one constant: the concept of story. My story, our story, the American story. The story connects the individual to the nation. Let's take a look at this.
I stand here knowing that my story is part of the larger American story, that I owe a debt to all of those who came before me, and that in no other country on earth is my story even possible.
You see, by connecting his personal story with the American story and the story of his generation, he was able to address and to unite different groups and different opinions. The message of his story: if you want to give a presentation that really touches and moves people, then find the right story. Now, how do you find the right story? Let's look at 3 questions that can help you to identify the right story. First, is your story exciting? In many presentations, it sounds like this. First we did that, then we did that, and finally we did that. This is not a story. A story goes like this. In the beginning, we encountered a huge problem and we racked our brains over how to solve it. The first attempts completely failed until we came up with an idea that changed everything. That's a story. Nancy Duarte, a well-known presentation expert, speaks of the hero's journey. A good presentation is like an exciting movie. It tells a story with challenges, with difficulties, and of course, with a happy ending. Let's take a quick look at the TED Talk of Nancy Duarte.
So in reality, the presenter isn't the hero, the audience is the hero of our idea. So if you look at Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, just at the front part, there was some really interesting insights there. So there's this likable hero in an ordinary world, and they get this call to adventure. So the world is kind of brought out of balance. And at first they're resistant. They're like, I don't know if I want to jump into this. And then a mentor comes along and helps them move from their ordinary world into a special world. And that's the role of the presenter, is to be the mentor. You're not Luke Skywalker, you're Yoda. You're the one that actually helps the audience move from one thing and into your new special idea. And that's the power of story.
That is the power of a story. Is every story powerful? I think not. Your story has to fit the topic of your presentation. That is the second important question. Does your story fit the topic, and does it have a central message? It is not about telling any story. It is about telling a story that fits and has a message. What does your story have to do with your topic? What should and can your audience take away from it? When I talk about customer centricity, for example, I often tell the story of Jeff Bezos and the empty chair. Do you know that story? When Jeff Bezos goes to a meeting, he takes a chair with him, an extra chair, not for himself. It is symbolic. The chair is reserved for the most important person in the room, the customer. The empty chair has become an institution. When participants in meetings see the chair, it means let's focus on the customer. Take his perspective. What is going through his mind right now? How would we find our idea? Is our discussion relevant to him? That's powerful, isn't it? My tip, become a story collector. At some point, you will have a pool of stories on very different topics. Then you will be able to choose the right one for your presentation. The last and maybe most important question, can you tell your story authentically? Do you believe in your own story? If you don't, neither will your listeners. But if you can tell your story with conviction and passion, your listeners will have no choice but to listen to you and at least ask themselves, can and will I believe it too? So these are my 3 questions for your story. Is it interesting? Does it fit your topic? Can you tell it authentically? If you can answer these 3 questions with yes, then please share this story with your audience. You can do it. Or, as Barack Obama would say, yes, you can. That's it for today. If you like these tips, just click on subscribe. And if you want help with your presentation, send it to me and we will look at it. See you and bye-bye.